Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Amy.
And Amy is joining us from NYC. Allie is still about all of their travels. And Amy, we have a weekend to discuss. It was the NWSL semifinals. We're going to preview the finals. And a lot blew up in the WSL. Specifically, your squad had a tough day. My squad had a tough day. Maybe we'll talk about Chelsea had a tough day. Who do you think had a worse day, United or Arsenal?
I mean, no one wants to get battered 3-0 by their rivals, so I'm going to say Man United, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a 3-0 versus a 0-0 might be fair. We're not going to waste any time here. Amy's here. Usually when Amy is on, we run way over time because we have just that much to talk about. So we're just going to waste no time and we're going to get into it. Let's talk NWSL semifinals. Amy, who is sitting in New York wearing Gotham gear as Gotham FC take down Orlando Pride with a stoppage time goal in the 97th minute. It was Jaden Shaw once again. Washington Spirit take down Portland Thorns. That one was on Saturday. That was 2-0. So our final is going to be Washington and Gotham, the 2 seed and the 8 seed. We're going to get into both of these games, and we have to start, and we have to mainly talk about, Amy, the Orlando Pride Gotham game, because I kind of wish, I mean, there are so many things to say. First and foremost, I didn't get to watch this live, unfortunately. I had it recorded. I had told everybody, no spoilers, please. And then my dumbass sat down to watch the game, turned it on, and opened my phone. And the first thing I opened was Instagram, not thinking about it, and I saw what happened. So I didn't get to watch it in the same fashion that you did. How, talk to me about the emotional roller coaster that you went on, or if there was one.
I think I find it hard to become emotionally attached to Gotham at times. So
yeah, we've spoken about this on the pod, which I think is worth noting also. Like, they're a hard team to...
I don't even think it's them. I don't think it's them. You know what I think it is? I think it's just the nature of the league. And I think about this frequently where it's like, okay, you only have to be in the top 8. That's all you have to do in the season. You don't really have to be like, you know, like world beaters out there every week. You can just be in the top 8 and qualify for the playoffs. And so there's only 4 teams. Is it 4 teams that don't make it? I believe.
Yeah, there's 4 teams that don't. No, there's 8 teams now that don't make it.
Oh, 8 teams.
And next year there's going to be 10 teams.
Okay, so half the league
Wait,
makes
I'm
it
doing
and
I'm
half
doing
don't.
that math wrong. I'm sorry. Math is
let's
really
double
hard for
check
me
that.
right now. Right now, because there's 14 teams in the league, and the top 8 make it. So there's 6. 8 plus 6 is 14. There's 6 that don't make it. And next year there's going to be 8 that don't make it.
That's right. I remember now because when I looked up Bay's position in the league, it was second bottom, and I was quite surprised. But we won't talk about that, will we, Sarah?
I mean, we can do that another time. There's not all that much to say.
But yeah, so I just feel like it's not just Gotham, it's the whole league itself. It's very hard to sit every week and watch a game with knowing that the outcome of this game is not really going to impact the season a lot. If you win half of your games, you're probably going to qualify for the playoffs. Even if you win less than half the games, you might qualify for the playoffs. So the regular season itself is not attractive. And I've said this before, it's not attractive. I don't go to games anymore because of that, I think. And the product that sometimes is on the pitch is not super entertaining either. I think Gotham's away form has been far better than their home form too. So not really attracting me to go out there to New Jersey to watch a game again. But
I love when you come on the pod, Amy.
I've put a right downer on something that's supposed to be really nice.
No, not at all. The best part of this is that for anybody listening, this is exactly what Amy would be saying if we were seated across, like, at a bar having a drink. So yeah. Just know that these are true, heartfelt thoughts. I feel like heartfelt needs to be said also because you were a season ticket holder and you were just like, I've become so disenfranchised for so many reasons. Another thing we've talked about on the pod, that you are now a Liberty season ticket holder, which is awesome and wonderful. I don't know. I guess maybe let's start there. Like, their away form has been so much better than their home form.
That's pressure.
Not at Red Bull or Sports Illustrated.
Right. Not a stadium with with zero atmosphere, zero charisma, zero heart, zero. There's nothing about that stadium. It's not even a football stadium. I mean, it is a football stadium, but it doesn't feel like a football stadium. It just feels empty. That's probably the best word I could. Even when it's like there's people in there, it still feels empty for some reason, and there's no soul to it. And I think the essence of a football club is your supporters. And when you finish 8th, you also give your supporters zero chance of watching you play in the playoffs because you're going on the road. So again, not exactly a team that I'm like, yeah, we can go watch them play in the playoffs. You know, they finish 2nd or finish 1st or whatever. But then you look at the flip side and it's like, okay, well, they finished 8th. They're the underdog story and they love being the underdog. And yeah, they thrive being the underdog. And so I can't criticize too much in the fact that they're getting results in the playoffs. But again, the playoffs are what, 3 games? You only have to be good in 3 games.
True. I mean, I said last week like that watching Kansas City lose was the first time that I was sitting there thinking, wow, I don't think I love this playoff system as much as I used to, because it was that heartbreaking to watch a team that was utterly dominant all season not get to close it out. But I don't know. The argument can be made that the playoffs are still great. We just need to put more emphasis on the regular season champions, and the playoffs are just like a fun thing also. I don't know. But either way, we said we've seen this before. 2023, Gotham won. You were a season ticket holder that year. You went to many a game. They'd finished 6th in the league. At that point, the top 6 teams made it because there were 12 teams. They went all the way to the championship in San Diego. They beat Seattle. It was Megan Rapinoe's last game. It was Ellie Krieger's last game. We all know the tale. And it kind of feels like history might be repeating itself, but who knows, because the Washington Spirit are, in my opinion, the Washington Spirit were the only team I had picked to like maybe beat Kansas City at any point. But let's stick to this Orlando Pride Gotham FC game, because when you get into it, it felt like there was a lot of chaos. But then it was like the 75th minute and there was one shot on goal between both of the teams and it belonged to Orlando. It was not the prettiest of games. It was a weird combination of it felt like a lot was happening while it also felt like not a lot was happening at all.
I think that the Gotham stuck to the game plan. The game plan was, you know, we'll take our chance when it comes. We'll counterattack because we have people who are great on the counterattack. We have pace. We also have technical ability up front. Esther can score from pretty much anywhere. You've got Midge Purse who can, you know, destroy people on the wing, put in a good ball. Jaden Shaw has been probably the signing of the season by far. Like, unreal. You know, you would say at the back, even like Emily Sonnet has been rock solid. And then Anne-Katrin Berger, you know, there's not enough superlatives to use to describe how good she is of a goalkeeper. You think the weakness for them would have been that matchup, which was, you know, the Jess Carter Marta, which was, you would think that was the one that was going to be like a little bit of an outmatch on Orlando's side, right? Yeah.
It was just Gotham had cover when they needed to have cover. That's it. Like, it was an outmatch. Jess Carter got beat multiple times. Sonnet saved the day in the box sometimes. Real saved the day a few times down that left-hand side as in the left back role for Gotham. Like, it's true. They got beat. And I thought Orlando did a great job also of shutting down the midfield of Gotham. Like, Rose Lavelle could not find the ball. And if we're looking at who was the better team across 90 minutes, it was Orlando. Orlando executed the game plan better. Gotham just capitalized in that one moment. And Orlando had their opportunities. You can't say they didn't. And they didn't. And that was the difference.
Yeah, and I think when we look back at last season, and Orlando was the rightful winner of the playoffs. They were definitely the NWSL champions. When I look at the game and I look at how they, you know, they did go for it. They did try and win it, but I don't think that they threw the kitchen sink at Gotham. I want to say that. I think they were a little bit mindful of what Gotham could do on the counter attack. And it was a bit of a, I wouldn't say it was a stalemate. It was a bit of a chess match at times. You know, it was both two very good coaches. You know, Seb Hines won the championship last season, and then Juan Carlos won it 2 seasons ago. So 2023, right? So you have to give them credit. They know both of them know what they're doing, and I think that it just came down to one moment, and Gotham seemed to love these one moments in late on in games to win it, and no better way to win it.
Specifically, Jaden Shaw seems to love the moments. I want to talk about Jaden Shaw, but I will say, like, I do think you said Orlando weren't really throwing the kitchen sink at Gotham, and they were playing to avoid being countered on. And I feel like Esther Gonzalez didn't play last weekend, played this weekend. The addition of Esther Gonzalez changed the game for that exact reason. Like, if Gotham didn't have the threat of Esther Gonzalez up top, I think this would have been a completely different game and a completely different game plan from Orlando. I think they would have maybe taken it to Gotham a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. But you, again, like, you have to you're not going out there to not lose, right? But you have to be mindful of what your opponent is bringing to the table. And you don't want to get beaten 2-0, but you honestly, you can't say that they didn't try and win the game, because they did. Orlando did try and win the game. I think that the quality of the free kick, that free kick is so understated because of how dangerous it is. It wasn't pacey. It wasn't like, one of those whipped in the top bins, like there's no one saving that. It wasn't that. It was one of those in-betweeners where the goalkeeper can't come for it.
Also can't really see it until the last second.
So she's staying there, and she has to make a last-minute decision, but she can't make that decision quick enough because the ball skips and goes in before she's even diving for it. So, and I think the run across was crucial as well. Was it Midge Purse?
It was Purse, yeah. It looked like she tried to get a foot on it and she didn't, which ended up being the best result. I wanted to ask you for your opinion because I'm sorry to out you for this, as a former goalkeeper.
Oh my God, every time I come on. This is why I don't come on for months on end, because you keep bringing this up.
Well, I was watching the goal and I had a lot of sympathy for Anna Morehouse, and I saw where the wall was set up, protecting the front post. And I was wondering if Anna Morehouse was out of position, if she should have been protecting the far post a little bit more because the wall was protecting the near post.
I don't think you can blame the goal. It's one of those balls that just, you see it frequently in football, not just in women's games, but the men's game. That happens all the time. The ball just, it's one of those just great balls that you just put into a space and it gets a touch, it goes in, or it just goes straight in on its own. And as soon as she hit it and I saw the trajectory, I'm like, that's going in.
It's kind of wild that made its way all the way in the back of the net without being touched once. For how many players were in the box and like in the 6-yard box at that. On the other side, Ann-Katrin Berger, who I did say I feel like it was a little bit her fault last week, the goal that went in to send that game into extra time, made up for everything with maybe the save of the year because Orlando was about to equalize that. On a free kick, nonetheless.
I know, like it was the last kick of the game. It was literally the last kick of the game. And I just looked at her. She kind of like with a taped up knee. She'd gone down a bunch of times already for a foot injury.
She got stepped on pretty hard at the beginning of the game. Yeah,
I saw that. And I think Leanne Sanderson in the commentary was saying that it was honestly, I couldn't listen to it after a while. I didn't even watch the celebrations at the end because I was just like, I can't listen to her talk anymore, so turn it off.
I'm really happy everybody can now see what your face looks like when you say her name. Before we move on from this game, we have to spend a moment on Orlando because there's a lot to say about this team. I've been, as much as you can be impressed with what we all know to be one of the best players this women's game has ever seen, I've been thoroughly still head over heels in love and impressed with Marta, who for some reason at 39 years old, mind you, I'm much younger than her and I can't put it together to play 4 weeks in a row without getting hurt. And she's 39 years old and doing what she does in the biggest moments being even bigger. I know there's so many more players on this team and they did a great job of picking up the slack when Barbara Banda went down. And this team would have been a different team had Barbara Banda not gotten hurt. But still disappointing, I think, for Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, disappointing for Marta, but she's clearly still got life in her because she she'd gas past people who are like half of her age, and she's got so much pace still, and I don't know how at 39, because when I was playing at 39, I just wanted to pick my legs up and move them for them with my hands. But like, yeah, she I think she ghosted a couple of Gotham players late on in the game too, where she ran down the channel, and just, I think Sonnet had to come over, and yeah, she's impressive, and she can still score those amazing solo goals where she beats people, takes them on with pace and speed, and it's just a pure joy. Samba football, Brazilian football, what we all love to watch, what we grew up watching. And, it's going to be a sad day when she actually does retire at some point.
Yeah, it'll be after 2027 at least. That's what we know.
Yeah, I hope she still stays around for longer than that if she still can play. Like, why not?
Why not? She said in her post-game press conference she's still hungry. I hate seeing Marta cry. We've seen it too many times, But she does speak really well when she's in tears. Not to...
Yeah, I mean, that's football, isn't it? I mean, you had the highs of last year where she swore on TV and her mum was there to see her lift the trophy, and now you got the lows. It's just part of the game. So, yeah, she'll be back.
All right, let's move it along. We're not going to spend as much time on the Washington Spirit Portland Thorns game. Spirit and Thorns fans, I'm sorry, but hopefully you do understand just based on which game was a little bit more exciting. Washington took it 2-0 over Portland. It was Gift Monday who scored first in the 27th minute, and then Croy Bethune iced it in the 83rd minute. And at that point, it was just over the moment Croy Bethune iced that. Listen, I know it was 1-0 for most of the game, but in my opinion, this game, Portland never got into it. And that was it. It was Washington's right from the jump. You look at both of these midfields, and they're both outstanding, right? You've got Washington's midfield and Hirschfeld, Santos, and Bethune. And then you have Portland's midfield led by Coffey, Jesse Fleming, Olivia Moultrie. I said last week, I think this is going to be a battle of the midfield, and Washington won. Hands down. One in possession, one in chances created, one in everything you could possibly think of in every stat category. Shots on goal, 8-3. Shot attempts, 16-10. I guess yellow cards was tied 1-1, but that doesn't count. 11 corner kicks to 3. It was a masterclass from Washington Spirit, and that goal itself was so beautiful because Gift Monday put it away, but it was Kawasi down the right wing.
That was unbelievable. We just talked about Marta and her ability to run past people, but the run deserved the goal. I mean, it was so unselfish to just square it, but it was so beautiful. I was just like, is this ever going to stop? Keep going? Okay. And then I wanted it to obviously end in a goal, but it did end in a goal, but it was an assist, not actually the person who deserved to scoring the goal. But that, rightly started the game off on the right foot for Washington, and they never looked back. It never looked like Portland were going to get into it, like you said. And it was a 2 versus 3 matchup, so it should have been a little bit more competitive than it was, and I think Portland will be very disappointed. But I think Portland are finding their feet again as a team who were not great for being probably the powerhouse in the league, you have to say, for a very long time.
We took the train down to Washington, D.C. We saw Kansas City and Portland play in the championship game, and Portland just spanked the daylights out of Kansas City. They were more than just a powerhouse. Yeah, they were massive.
But even before then, I think that people aspired to be like them. Just the stadium, the fans, the whole thing, the whole way that Portland have bought into it. That's what Gotham needs. And so yesterday I was driving past the new NYCFC stadium, and it is going up. It is almost, it's beautiful. And it's there. It's there. Gotham is there. But yeah, just bring it back to Portland, they were the team that everybody was looking at as, the role models for the league, and they were successful. They were always competitive. They always had like a Christine Sinclair was always there, like as their talisman. And so to see them fall off so badly in the last, we'll say probably what, 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I
They've
guess
had a
it's really
rebuild as
only
well.
been 3 seasons, which is wild. That's a quick rebuild for sure.
Yeah, they've had a rebuild, and obviously they've got some good national team players in there. I think that Moultrie's coming a bit more to life now. She was really young when they signed her, but she's mature and she's still really young. Sophia Smith, obviously a standout talent.
Yeah, it's nice to remember they're doing this all without Sophia, what's her, Wilson.
Yeah, I'm not going to call her that. Her name's Sophia Smith.
I mean, you think about how they're going to be next year with the added addition of her. Like, that's pretty impressive. But I agree. I mean, I think what this, other than the midfield, the other thing this game came down to was something that Portland was having trouble with all year. And it was, when it was on, but when it was off, it was just brutal. And that's goal scoring. And it seems pretty elementary and rudimentary to say that, but at the end of the day, like that's all that matters. We talked about how Orlando outplayed Gotham, but Gotham got the one goal. Like, if you can't score goals, it really doesn't matter how well you played. It's going to be tough in those moments then as well, when you don't have possession, to then be able to play the counterattack and have faith that one is actually coming. And there was just nothing there for Portland at all. 2 more things to say. We mentioned the goal. I'm really listen. Kouassi and Gift Monday, I think, are two of the most underrated attackers in the NWSL. So I'm happy they got that moment on this stage. Gift Monday has now scored 2 weekends in a row.
Best name in football, by the way.
Totally, best name maybe in the world.
Great name.
Great name. You can do anything.
It just makes you smile
name.
when you say it. You're like, Gift Monday.
This is wonderful.
It is.
Who, by the way, like, I hate to get bleak, but she posted a really heartfelt sentiment on her Instagram. She lost her father. She had to travel home for the burial, came back, and this is all happening for her in the playoffs, which you just love to see something good happen for somebody like that. All right, let's do it. We talked about Orlando and Gotham. We talked about Washington and Portland. Let's talk about this coming Saturday. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern in San Jose. I will be there in person because it's just an hour away from me, sometimes 2 or 3 if there is traffic, but I will be there. Let's talk about it. A neutral ground.
Far away from everybody's home stadium. Yeah.
I didn't mention, but we can talk about it in the final preview. Trinity Rodman got her first minutes back. That might be an added addition for the Washington Spirit, who are the 2 seed, who will be playing the number 8 seed Gotham FC. More than this, I feel like the matchup between these 2 teams has become somewhat of an East Coast rivalry, and it's a must-watch game, even if it's a regular season game between these 2 teams. It's just fun. It's competitive. It's physical. And I expect the same thing this Saturday. What do you expect?
Yeah, I like the matchup and I like the rivalry. I think it's good for the game to have that local rivalry. Even if it's like 4 hours away, it's still a local rival. It is. It's a local rival for America. Yeah. I mean, the other way is Boston, and that's a local rival 4 hours
away. They've already
too.
claimed Gotham as their rival, and Los Angeles, if we all remember that debacle. That was back in the Boss Nation era.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, moving on from them. I think, it's going to be a steelier game than the Orlando matchup for Gotham. Orlando loves to play football.
It would have been a prettier game, dare I say. It would have been a prettier game. And that's not to say it's not going to be a more fun game, but like, it would have been a prettier football game if it was Orlando and Washington.
I think that, I don't even know if having Trinity Rodman back is a positive thing for them. I don't know. I don't fancy Trinity Rodman that much as a football player.
Why not? This is a very hot take. I feel like she's maybe the most coveted free agent in the world right now.
Well, she is, and there's a lot of talk about her going to the WSL because they can't. The NWSL can't with their wage structure. Yeah, they can't afford her salary, which she would. There's 3 teams in England who are looking at her, and you can imagine who those 3 teams probably are. The 3 teams who've got all the money. I mean, Chelsea has to be there, surely. And then probably, I would say Arsenal, because Beth Mead's not getting any younger. And
yeah, I mean, what, you don't think United would shell out for her? You were thinking City?
A team that's got more money is Manchester City. I mean, Man United.
Yeah, of course they have more money. It's not like United doesn't have money, though. It's just a matter of if they'll give it to the women.
Right. There's a priority is not the women, which we've already heard countless times. So would Man United take her? Sure they would. maybe she'd make me eat my words and I'd have to, kind of get on board the Trinity Rodman bandwagon. But yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Trinity Rodman in finals or like big games where I just don't. Something about the occasion takes over her, and it doesn't seem like she plays football. It seems like she gets this like overwhelming sensation, like she has to prove something, or she has to be physical, or she has to get into an altercation, or it doesn't have to be any of those things. You just have to go play football. Yes.
Yeah, she plays the occasion and not the game. And we also have to remember that she's still so young. Like she didn't go to college, right? So Trinity Rodman, I want to say she's 23. Let me check. She's 23 years old. I give her a little bit of grace for that, for sure. I agree with what you're saying in terms of big moments. It seems like based on the minutes she got in the semifinal, there's like zero chance she's going to start. So when you think about it that way, if it's Trinity Rodman coming off the bench, it just has fresh legs, do you like it more there? Or are you still like,
Yeah, well, I think that changes the dynamic of what she's trying to do when she's coming on versus when she's starting a game, because then you feel less pressure to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this, I'm starting, I'm doing this for 90 minutes probably, because, she probably will. And then maybe more if it goes to extra time. But I think there's less pressure coming off the bench. She can play more freely coming off the bench. There's always going to be expectations around her, just for the type of player that she is, where she can be electric and excite people and get people off their seats. And yeah, you're right, she still is young, and I think that part of that is maturing as a football player and having the right people around you to mature as a football player. I think that she has the right person around her at the international level in Emma Hayes, because she'll mature real quickly under Emma Hayes, I'm pretty sure. And if she does end up going and playing abroad, which she probably will do at this point, which again it makes me question the league. It makes me really question the NWSL. What are you trying to do here? Are you still just... But are you a feeder club for the NCAA? Like, you're just NCAA, you get these NCAA players, you make them really good, and then they go to Europe.
I mean, that's my fear. That's like what it's turning into. That's the fear for sure. And obviously the salary cap structure is put in place because there's no draft anymore. So if there's no way to make things equal, and there's no salary cap, there's no draft, then the one thing that everybody feels like the NWSL has going for them, which is the fact that it's competitive top to bottom, which it is, but anybody still can beat anybody. It's more competitive top to bottom than the WSL. That's for sure. But I think the fear is that taking the salary cap away means that they will lose that one element of it. Whether that's right or that's wrong, I don't know. More and more, I think the signs point to it's time to eliminate the salary cap, or maybe let's do something like the MLS does, like a David Beckham rule, where you can designate this many players that are outside of the salary cap and you can pay them whatever the hell you want. And then that's a great way to still bring big talent into the league. I don't really love the David Beckham rule, because then you end up basically with the MLS with, again, a bunch of retirees like Messi coming over and just getting a bunch of money to play here. So at the end of the day, I personally think that the best thing for the league is to just open that up and see what happens. No salary cap, no draft. Let's find out. But you're right. They're losing everybody. It's becoming a feeder league. And it's because people can get paid more overseas. That wasn't an issue 5 years ago because there was no money to be had overseas. Now there is. We are going to talk about the WSL next. But we did get onto this topic because we were talking about the NWSL final. So let's run it all the way back. Who do you think is going to win and why?
Gotham's going to win.
Wow.
It's theirs. It's that feeling.
Yeah. You think it's 2023 all over again?
It is. They've got something on their side. It just feels serendipitous that they're going to win it. I don't know why. Can't say.
You know what? I said that in 2023 and I was right. But I'm not going to say that this year. I think it's Washington's.
You think it's one step too far then?
I think it's one step too far for sure. I think, with no disrespect to the teams that they've played, that Gotham have played in the lead up to this, they're not as good as Washington. They haven't been as good as Washington. Washington's main issue hasn't been like not playing good soccer. Their issue's been staying healthy. And for the most part, other than Trinity Rodman, they're finally all healthy. And I think when that happens, anything can happen. Now, this is a game with, especially we just mentioned like the rivalry between these two teams. Truly anything could happen. They played in the CONCACAF W Champions Cup at the beginning of October. They drew 0-0, which is wild for these two teams to draw 0-0. I feel like it's usually a goal fest. But then that they also drew 0-0 back in August in 2020 or of this year. And then the first meeting between the two of them, Gotham won 3-0. So what, 2 draws and a win for Gotham? Washington haven't won. I guess that doesn't bode well for what I'm about to say, but maybe it does bode well because it's hard to beat a team that many times.
I thought we said that was nonsense. Hard to beat a team more than 3 times, or hard to beat a team 3 times. I thought we did at one point on a podcast. We said it was nonsense.
It sounds like maybe you did. I don't think I did. I don't think it's nonsense.
I don't think it's nonsense.
Maybe I've changed my mind, but I, at this point in time, don't think it's nonsense. I think it's mental. And that's what really gets to you. But I mean, we listen to Emma Hayes talk about the Champions League and why it's like it's 2 very different games each time because one team wins, another team loses, and the losers go back and they completely revamp and change their tactics. And then it's a completely different game the next time. And it's tougher for the previous victors to win because they haven't made as many adjustments because everything was working.
You're saying Washington then?
I'm saying Washington, and I think Kawasi and Gift Monday maybe both get on the board. Either it's assists or goals. But I think there's so many elements. Look, Emily Son is having the season of her career in terms of NWSL club play. We've said that before. She has to. And I think Jess Carter played well in the last game, but we've saw moments where the cover had to help the lack of speed that Jess Carter has. Jess Carter brings a lot of elements that are positive to Gotham. Speed isn't one of them. What does Washington have up top? A lot of speed. And it just might be a little too much for the back line to handle. Here I am saying that, and Washington has yet to score on Gotham in the year of 2025. So I could eat my words, but we'll find out. Let's go around the world. Around the world, around the world, to Canada. And the Northern Super League has their first ever champion. It was Vancouver Rise FC, who took down AFC Toronto 2-1 this past Saturday to be the first ever champions of the Northern League. And to France, it's Lyon who sit in first still, but it's not all that comfortable. PSG sit just 3 points behind in second place, while Paris FC trail by 3 more. And finally, to La Liga MX Femenil to Mexico. We have our finalists in the Apertura. It's going to be Tigres against America. Tigres tied with Cruz Azul in leg 1 of the semifinal, but beat Cruz Azul 2-1 in the second leg to break the deadlock. On the other side of the bracket, America took it 2-0 over Guadalajara in both legs, making it a 4-0 aggregate. It will be Tigres against America in the final.
We all love a legendary comeback, and Degree Original Cool Rush is back and better than ever. Cool Rush isn't just a scent, it's a movement, a fan favorite that delivers bold, fresh vibes and all-day sweat protection. Whether you have a man that spends hours in the gym, heads into the office early, or is just trying to stay fresh on a long day, Cool Rush has their back. Head to your local Walmart or Target and grab Degree Cool Rush, the fan favorite scent from the world's #1 antiperspirant brand.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. New players, new games, new rules. Squid Game, The Challenge returns for a gripping second season. 456 contestants from all walks of life, competing in the ultimate test of strategy, alliances, and endurance. For a life-changing prize of $4.56 million. With stakes this high, why make friends when you can make millions? Catch up on the latest episodes, now playing only on Netflix.
All right, let's talk WSL. It was a weekend of derbies for sure, and a tough weekend at that for you and your United gals and me. I had flashbacks. I distinctly remember watching Arsenal draw with Tottenham the last time they drew with Tottenham, And I fear it looked a little something similar to what just happened this past weekend. Arsenal draws with Tottenham at Tottenham 0-0. United goes to City and loses 3-0. Oof. Chelsea drew with Liverpool. Which one of those 3 games would you like to start on other than United?
Let's start on the Arsenal-Tottenham game because I watched that in its entirety.
I have very little to say about this other than this is how the season's gone. It's a terrible season. It's a Champions League hangover at best. At worst, it's a squad aging out without a revamp that it has needed. Yes, they signed Jenna Neiswanger. Yes, they signed Emily Fox. Yes, they signed Olivia Smith. But it's not enough. And it's not enough. I don't want to use the word marquee, but it's not enough strong talent that can replace the talent that you already had. And it was a game that really encompassed a rough season for Arsenal. It's not going to be Champions League. That's out of the question. Well, I'm sorry, that's not out of the question. Not statistically. In my mind, it feels like it is. But maybe there's Champions League. There's definitely no WSL. It's rough. It was rough. It was a rough watch. It's not like they didn't have their opportunities. It was just a disaster. It was the same thing for 90 minutes, and no changes were made the whole time. Yes, like personnel-wise, Chloe Kelly came in with like 5 minutes left in the game, which, by the way, why are you putting her in with only 5 minutes left in the game? That's another thing I don't understand. I'm going to not monologue anymore. What do you think about it?
Well, I think coming off the back of that really disappointing Champions League result in the week, like that was, you're 2-0 up. You've blown a 2-0 lead and conspired to lose 3-2. I mean, Bayern Munich's not an easy place to go, granted. Yeah, it is a solid team, but if you're winning 2-0, do you expect to hold on to that and come out with at least a point? But when we look back on it, right, we were begging Arsenal to sign a goalkeeper. They signed one. Do we rate her? Do we like Van Domsela? She had a good season?
Of all of the issues, that's not high on my list.
Well, okay, but you also have this huge defensive frailty because you're missing Leah Williamson, but now you've lost Reed. She's torn her ACL. So you're threadbare at the back. You've got Wooba Moy coming in, who is a great person. I love Wooba Moy. It's like when you go on a date with somebody you're not attracted to them, but they have a nice personality. That's Wooba Moy as a football player, right? Stalwart, Arsenal, loves the club, just a good person, good vibes. But how long are you going to survive on good vibes? I don't know if you can survive that long on good vibes, to be fair.
You can if you're not required to have that much playing time. But also just Leah Williamson can't stay healthy. That's a big problem. A whole defensive line unit built around Leah Williamson being there.
Well, she hurt her knee in the Euros, and I think that was the reason she's hurt her knee. She had to have another surgery. That's sad. But I'm not
trying to blame her. It's deeply sad, of course.
No, and it's not her fault, but she's definitely a really important player for you, like a huge player. You definitely need a centre back next to her losing Reed is a big downer, not gonna lie, because she's young and good. And then your centre mids, Cooney Cross, I do like her. I think she's going to be really good. How old's Katie McCabe now?
Definitely in her 30s, probably low 30s.
Okay. Again, another player is sort of, everyone loves Katie McCabe, and rightly so, but she's getting on. You got Beth Mead also getting on. There's not a lot of youth out there on the wings. I mean, Chloe Kelly, I don't know why she didn't start, but whatever. That's not my decision, is it? You started with 2 strikers, though. Russo and Blackstenius both started. I don't know if they complement each other.
Well, Russo's been fantastic. Blackstenius, I stand by this. I said this before the Euros. I think she does best when she's coming off the bench. Right now, because of who Arsenal have, she has to play that starting role. And I just think she plays better when she comes off the bench and she can affect the game that way. I don't think that they complement each other well.
No, it seems a lot of disjointedness, and Jonas got sacked for this type of football. I'm going to say it. It's true. He did get sacked for this average football, and it is not consistent.
He had many years, many years. And while the lows have been low, the heights with Renee have been way higher. Like, we wouldn't have won the Champions League if Jonas was still there, period, the end.
No doubt. I mean, I believe that also, and I'm not saying get rid of her, but I think they have to back her a bit more with the transfer windows. Like, you have to invest in this team, and Arsenal have always been the pioneers for women's football in England, and they continue to do so in lots of things they do. And I wish that they would do more in the transfer window for the manager and the next point, because, you know, that you won the Champions League, but you won it on kind of like a Gotham run, right? It was very much, it was very much like an underdog story. You did win it. It's happy
and
for
you
you
took
guys.
a shot. Yeah, you took a shot afterwards as well.
I celebrated when they won.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great. I wanted an English team to win. I don't have any animosity towards Arsenal women's team. I never have, and I probably never will. I just think that they've always pioneered the game in England, and I can't say without them that we wouldn't be where we are now, because we wouldn't, and they still continue to do good things. That letting them use the Emirates all the time is great for the game, and not letting them use it, making it their home. You know what I mean?
They're the U.S. women's national team of English club football, you could say.
They are, because they didn't buy their way into things either. Whereas Chelsea have really bought their way into things, which is the difference between two clubs. There's a legacy.
I mean, so have both of the Manchester teams also, for the record. Anybody but Arsenal has.
Yeah, I mean, Man United were one of the last teams to do so. So the less said about that, the better. But yeah, I mean, it was a boring game. Boring. It's Tottenham's game. It was the way Tottenham wanted it. And credit to Spurs, they will be happy with a 0-0. I would say they've done well this season. Can't say they haven't.
Exactly how they usually do.
Well, they've done an average job as a Tottenham women's team. They've done a bang average job of staying average. So well done. Yeah. But they've done well for them, because they don't have a lot of good signings.
Yeah, I mean, still waiting for the day where Tottenham decide to inject some big money, big cash into that women's side, because a lot could happen. But I've been waiting for about 5 years now. Still hasn't happened. So we'll see when that actually happens. You mentioned the transfer portal, and because we already talked about Trinity Rodman, I rate her really highly. I think she's a fantastic player. I think she does need help in the big moments, but all in all, she's a game-changing player. I don't think she's the answer for Arsenal. We don't need more wingers. We don't need more players who can do a lot on the outside. We need more players who can do a lot either defensively or in the midfield, and specifically in the center midfield. That's where we need players, and that's not where Trinity Rodman plays. Would I be sad if we got her? Absolutely not. I would be so happy, but she's not the solution. You can't sign her and think that that's the solution, because that's just a recipe for disaster for everybody.
Fair, but what about this? What if she doesn't play on the wing? What if she plays as a second striker with Alessia Russo? How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic.
Right, well, there you go then. So I don't think she has to necessarily play as a winger. I think she can play as a striker, and I think that she would partner well with Russo, because Russo is one of the best strikers in the game right now.
She's like a true number 9.
Her, yeah. If you just watch Alessia Russo and everything she does, don't watch the ball, watch her and her movements, like, and the ability to win the ball back, the ability to hold the ball, play it off, make the right decisions. She's grown so much in the last, I would say, like 3-4 years as a player. Unreal.
I would agree. So much. Yeah, there was a moment where I wasn't sure. Coming off of the 2022 Euros, she didn't have a great season. And it was that moment where she was kind of like transitioning into a bigger starting role, both at club and internationally. And it took her a moment, but she came into it. And yeah, there's hardly really a weakness.
Off of the back of the transfer. So you got to say she needed time to sell, you know.
Okay, thank God we're done with Arsenal. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about United, because I don't really care if we don't get onto the Chelsea game. So let's talk about the United game, specifically the Manchester Derby, in which City rolled over, Manchester United. You texted me this was a Champions League hangover. Is that all it was, do you think?
It's a massive Champions League hangover. I think when you're juggling a massive competition like the Champions League and you're trying to be consistent in the WSL, it becomes harder and harder when you don't have a squad the size of somebody like Chelsea, who have underperformed in the Champions League massively, you have to say that. To not win it at this point is insanity. But I'm not going to criticise Man United a lot, to be honest, because I just can't. I think that some of the football we've played this season has been unbelievable. It's been unreal. I've never seen them play this type of football before, and I think that they've lost back-to-back WSL games now, which is not great. We lost to Villa at home again, another Champions League, and after another Champions League game, and we've now lost to City away, which, looking at it now, is. I wasn't upset. I wasn't angry at all, actually, when we lost. I was just like, okay, well, this makes sense because we've really overperformed in a lot of areas so far. And there's going to be these moments where it's like, yeah, we're not quite there yet, but we can be. And I think the signings we've made have been unreal. Like Jess Park, what a football player. What are Manchester City doing? Why would you let somebody that good leave?
We've already talked about this. I've talked about this with you. I've talked about this with Allie. We are not talking about this trade again.
No, I'm not talking about the trade. I'm just going to say
trade.
She's an unbelievable football player.
She's playing great.
And she is. And I can't wait to see her play in an England shirt either, because I think that there's a lot of good things that can happen when somebody can dribble a football and penetrate and break lines by dribbling. We don't have enough of that for England either, so I'm excited to see that, because really the only true talent we have that can do that is Lauren James, and she keeps getting injured, which is sad. But anyway, we go back to Manchester United.
7 points out of first place now, though. City in first.
We're not going to win the WSL. We don't have that backbone to win the WSL yet. I'm still not convinced.
So what's the goal? What's the goal? Get top 3, get Champions League again, and keep building?
Well, the goal has to be to win the Champions League, doesn't it?
I don't know. If the goal's not to win the WSL, it's the goal then to win the Champions League.
What was your goal? What was Arsenal's goal last season?
Once the WSL was out of sight, it was to win the Champions League. Fair.
Okay, and you won the Champions League, which nobody gave you a hope in hell of winning. They didn't. Nobody said Arsenal's going to win the Champions League, did they? Well, I mean, this is our first season in the Champions League, so for me to come out here and be like, Man United are going to win the Champions League is a different thing. But the goal should be for Manchester United to win the Champions League. When you are playing that well in the Champions League, I know we were supposed to talk about the Champions League later, but we're going to talk about it now. When you're playing that well in the Champions League and you've won 3 out of 3 games and you're sitting up the top there with teams Barcelona, you see Manchester United's name there, to me, that's crazy.
Frame it, put it on your wall.
It just isn't. It's like, I reposted Man United's goal against PSG, the winning goal. That was front to back. That goal was sublime. Yeah, back to front to back, whatever you want to call it. I've lost my words. It was sublime. It was, and again, we needed all elements, right? You need to be able to move the ball quickly. You needed somebody to be able to dribble, and Park got the ball out wide, and the cross was unreal, and the header, top finish. Like, you couldn't argue. If that was a men's goal, it would have been replayed everywhere for days on end. It was that good. It was top quality. So, and I think that they're not flattered to deceive. This is not flattering on Man United that they've won 3 games. It's not. They deserve to win 3 games. The test is going to be Wednesday, Wolfsburg away. It's going to be a hard game.
A lot of good Champions League games, both Wednesday and Thursday. Arsenal are hosting Real Madrid. United go to Wolfsburg. Those are both Wednesday. Lyon goes to Juventus on Wednesday. PSG hosts Bayern on Thursday. Chelsea hosts Barcelona on Thursday. We should all watch that one for sure. Speaking of Chelsea, their record in the WSL reflects relatively positive. I mean, they're the only team that hasn't suffered a loss still. They're 6 wins, 3 draws, no losses. Even City, who are sitting above them in the table, have lost a game. They're 8 wins, no draws, 1 loss. Chelsea aren't playing as dominant as Chelsea of other years have played. They're still winning like Chelsea of other years have won. But I think at the end of the day, when I look at the WSL table, the first thing that comes to mind is you have City at the top. The next 3 teams are all playing Champions League. And then you have everybody else below. It feels like it's City's to run away with, and that the other teams are just simply not equipped to handle the load of a WSL and a Champions League at the same time. And that's what's going to separate everybody, and there won't be enough games to make up for it.
Well, I agree. And I think that if you look at, like, you look at Barcelona in their league, right? There's a cakewalk every week. They're not even trying to win that league. They don't even have to. So it's not even like they're competing. And then you look at Arsenal last season, they were nowhere near the WSL top. They weren't even trying to win the league for probably, the last quarter of the season, I would say. So they kind of had, they were like, okay, well, we don't have that anymore. We'll put that on the back burner. We're just Champions League. And I also think that being competitive in your league also does help to a certain extent, right? The games keep coming. It's like, okay, well, let's keep the competition going. Because sometimes it can be hard to lift yourself for big games when you've played a lesser team or whatever in the weekend. So I think that there is a lot of Champions League hangovers for these teams. And Chelsea, who have a huge squad, I don't understand why they're having such a Champions League hangover, because they shouldn't. They have players who can come, they have a second 11 who can come in and beat anybody pretty much. So I think for that, it's just them. I don't know. I don't really know what Chelsea's problem is, because I don't even like the way they play football lately. I want it to be boring. It's not attractive football, is it? Like, I don't think I don't switch on Chelsea and be like, oh wow, I really want to watch them play. Like, before I'd wanted to watch them. Yeah.
Because it was good football. Now they just win.
Well, they're not even winning now, are they? They can't even beat Liverpool. They can't even beat bottom of the table Liverpool.
Would you rather watch United play like terrible football, but they're winning a lot? Or watch them play really great, beautiful football, but they're just not winning?
I mean, I've seen Manchester United at the men's level do this, and it's like, it's brutal to watch them winning and play badly. I mean, under Jose Mourinho, they weren't exactly attractive football players, but playing football, there's just nothing good about it, but they won trophies. So, there's those highs you get. Football is about winning, right?
I mean, at what cost, though? You mentioned you couldn't stand watching Gotham play. They won in 2023, and you were like, hey, sorry, guys, I'm going to go be a Liberty season ticket holder. That had a lot of different arms to it, though. They didn't treat their season ticket holders well and everything. But anyways, just to bring it full circle.
I think I would say I would rather watch them play attractive football and lose than at least that there's some sort of pathway to them becoming good at some point, whereas if you just low block in and getting 1-0ers, it's like, oh, it's so boring.
Part of why my attempt back in 2020 to become an Arsenal men's fan failed so terribly. I tried for about 4 weeks straight and was like, we can't do this. I'm out. Anything else WSL-wise that you want to touch on?
Well, I think we have to give Manchester City some props here. I don't think we've given them anything in this whole conversation. It's obviously painful to give Manchester City props, but we're going to, because I think that they're good to watch. They're good to watch. They're fun to watch, actually. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. And when Lauren Hemp scores and she's on form, she's such a good player to watch. I enjoy it because I know that she's an England player as well, and I know people hate that, but whatever. I don't care. Those people get lost. Because you're the people who cheer when England win as well, and she scores, so, whatever. I think that you want to see a player be healthy and come back and score goals, and that goal was top class. I mean, I thought all their goals were good goals. We missed Fallon. We do miss Fallon. I mean, Saf did a good job, but she's not playing enough to be considered a number one, and it's unfortunate that Fallon fractured her eye socket, but she's recovered and she's going to be back for the Champions League, which is great. But I think that Manchester City are in pole position to win the league if they can continue to be consistent. They can afford to drop a point or two, but I think that they could beat Chelsea. I think that Man United should have beaten Chelsea when we played. To be honest, I don't think they were that good.
Dare I say? I was about to say that. Also, dare I say, City's depth certainly rivals Chelsea's, let alone might even be, at least in the forward category, deeper. Like, they have a deep, deep squad. You think about their forwards, who's on that roster. Lauren Hemp, Vivian Miedema, right? Shaw, Bunny Shaw, Mary Fowler's on that roster. Caroline is on that roster now. Like, those are just the forwards. So it's a incredibly deep bench. Kind of when you look at it that way, it's like, well, if you're not winning, what are we doing here with all of this talent? But I feel like that's taking something away from them. So
Be nice to see somebody other than Chelsea win it. And I'm not saying I want Manchester City to win it, but I'm just saying that I want someone else to win it because it's boring when the same team wins it all the time. I'd love it to be Man United, but it's not going to be, so...
We got some matchups in the WSL. Unfortunately, it's not a Chelsea City. It's Arsenal hosting Liverpool, London City Lionesses, which when you're on again next, we should talk about them, hosting Brighton.
Oh, they've had some good results lately.
Tottenham hosting Aston Villa, United hosting West Ham, Leicester City hosting City.
Easy 3 points. Sorry, Ali.
And Chelsea hosting Everton. Mind you, we have to wait all the way until January, Amy, but Arsenal will host United first game back from winter break. So you'll have to come on and talk about that also. And then the next one for Arsenal is at Chelsea, for the record. That's how January starts for Arsenal.
Oh, okay. So just a couple of rubbish matches to start the year then.
All right, we did it. For Amy, I've been Sarah. This has been the Women's Soccer Show. We'll see you next Wednesday. As always, thanks, everybody.
This podcast was edited by Monkey Hill Media. Visit monkeyhillmedia.com for more information.